They are accusing Democrats of saying we spend too much. For anyone that wants to entertain that thought, I ask you to think about the last time a person has said in this country that the government does too much for them, that their Social Security check was too high, that teachers are paid too much. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that?
Another quote. President Biden already lowered the deficit by $1.7 trillion. They say his budget would cut the deficit by another $3 trillion by eliminating wasteful spending on big oil. When was the last time anyone has heard or seen that? I'll say it. I'll say it right here. I don't want the government doing most of the things that the government is doing to interfere with the ability of the American people to carry out their lives. Federal, state, and local. When was the last time you had a bureaucrat show up and you said, "Oh joy, thank you. I'm really glad there's a bureaucrat here"? When was the last time you were thankful for $32 trillion in debt, $100,000 almost for every man, woman, and child in America? Anybody thankful for $32 trillion in debt? Anybody? Anybody thankful for a border that's wide open being exploited by cartels while fentanyl comes in and kills our children? Everybody thankful for that Department of Homeland Security that doesn't actually secure the homeland? Everybody thankful for an FBI that went after Scott Smith and labeled him a domestic terrorist for daring to defend his daughter in a school board meeting because she was assaulted in a bathroom? Anybody thankful for the IRS knocking on your door, auditing the poor and the minorities 3 to 5 times more? People thankful for that? Are you thankful for the EPA or the Department of Interior that sent a man to prison because he had some ponds on his ranch in Montana? We have a government that is weaponized against the American people and is undermining our liberties, and they want more of it. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle want more government. They want more taxes. They want more spending. They want more bureaucrats knocking on your door. My colleagues on the other side of the aisle say Republicans just want to protect rich tax cheats. According to CBS, that great purveyor of right-wing conspiracy news, the IRS audits the poor at 5 times the rate of everyone else. According to the New York Times, also a great purveyor of radical right-wing news, quote, black taxpayers are at least 3 times as likely to be audited by the Internal Revenue Service as other taxpayers. Rich people have lawyers. Rich people get subsidies by the very people who go out and campaign and say they're doing things for the American people while they enrich their fat cat buddies, as my Democratic colleagues did with the Inflation Reduction Act, which my Republican colleagues voted to end and now are walking away from eliminating. Reform number 5, implement the REINS Act to end the abuse of executive power by empowering Congress to approve major regulations that cost Americans billions of dollars. President Biden's regulatory delusion in his first 2 years has saddled the American people with at least $318 billion in total costs, more than 218 million hours of paperwork. But more than that, there are massive regulations being carried out by this administration through executive fiat and order that has a massive economic impact, but more importantly, a massive liberty impact on the American people, turning felons into millions of Americans for daring to have a piece of plastic that attaches out of the aisle. They don't want people to have to work. President Biden voted for it 11 times. President Clinton signed it. But your modern Democratic Party in 2023 wants to pay people not to work. There is no other explanation for it. If they say otherwise, it's not true. We want people to work. We want to get the benefit of getting people off of welfare reform. There is, in fact, dignity to work. Our country depends on it. Our society depends on it. Our children depend on seeing their parents work. But my colleagues on the other side of the aisle don't want that. Apparently we do, and I at least think it's apparently part of whatever deal's being discussed. But it ought to be, and it ought to be fully a part of it, because we passed it already. We passed a deal. Finally, reclaiming billions in unobligated COVID funds. Well, that's just the peanuts laying left on the floor. The mere $40 or $50 billion of unobligated COVID funds left of the $5 trillion or whatever we blew through in the last 3 years, decimating our economy and driving up inflation. The fact of the matter is, we have an obligation in this body, in the people's house, on both sides of the aisle, to do our job, to stop spending money recklessly, to stop printing money, to stop driving up inflation, to stop denying our children their inheritance. When everybody goes around on Memorial Day this weekend and they go stand up with veterans and they go salute the fallen and they go to Arlington National, they go to the cemetery at Fort Sam Houston or any one of our other national cemeteries around this country, what did they fight for? Did they fight for us to cut a deal? Because I'm pretty sure the boys in Bastogne sitting in the foxhole freezing to death weren't interested in moving that line back to Normandy. They'd gone from Normandy to Bastogne. Hold the damn line. Don't back off, Republicans. Stand up for the country that you go out and campaign for. Hold the line for the American people, because the bill we passed in April, I'm going to be honest with you, it's a down payment on what we have to do. It's not everything we have to do. It's just the beginning. And if we walk away from that, because the people get weak-kneed about, oh my God, they're crying, oh my God, we're not going to make our debt payments. Yes, we are. The President of the United States knows what you know. We can't walk away from our debt payments. We have to make those payments. Secretary Yellen and the President know it. They will make the payments. We will not default, but we are defaulting on the American dream every single day that goes by, where we continue to spend money we don't have to fund the bureaucrats at war with the American dream. And if Republicans walk away from this, they don't deserve to stay in the majority any more than the Democrats do. We should hold the line for the American people, and we should hold the line for the future of this country.
इंशाअल्लाह जो हकदार है उस हक मिलना चाहिए और फिर इसी तरह जब उस हक मिले सी और अमीन बनवे सी और फिर अमीन हो सी और तो सकल फिर बार आसी हाँ जी और असा भी बहना है ना को क्यों जो काम हो सी तो जिस तरह के पहले गया तो जनाजगाह फिर और इसी तरह और भी तो अगर कोई काम भी होए तो इन्हें ना दरवाजा बंद ना हो सी खुला ऐसे तो हर वक्त अल्लाह तबारक व तआला ना दरवाजा दरबार खोला रहता है तो दुआ है उसने दरबार ने भी दुआ करने कि अल्लाह तुदा जो आदमी चंगा लगना तू उसे कामयाब फरमा और जो अमीन है उसे तू कामयाब फरमा या अल्लाह तू कामयाब करने वाला तू तो कादिर है तू कुदरत रखने वाला है या अल्लाह असनी इस दुआ को कबूल फरमा रब्बना तक़ब्बल मिन्ना इन्नका अंतस समीउल अलीम वतब अलैना इन्नका अंतत तव्वाबुर रहीम सल्लल्लाहु तआला अला खैर खल्किही मुहम्मद व अला आलिही व अस्हाबिही व आल बैतिही व अतबाइही अजमईन।